it took 7 years to get the letter right.
Exactly. So, like, the immediate question that comes to your mind is, why did it take 7 years to write that letter? And that's what's so gripping, because you want to find out why, so you turn the page. That's insane. I love it so much.
And I feel like that literally highlights the importance of first lines in books, because there are so many amazing books that don't have as good first lines, and because of that, not as many people keep on reading them and see what good books they actually are, because of the first lines not being as gripping. And so some people leave the book at the beginning, and that's exactly the reason why there's some books that have great first lines but are not even that good the rest of the book. People keep reading them because of the first gripping first line.
Hey friend, do you love the smell of books? Maybe you absolutely delight in the sound of a pen gliding across a page as you write. Hi, my name is Shira Rodriguez, and I am a Jesus follower, a writer, entrepreneur, and lover of all things boho and books. In this podcast, I want to take you on a journey of discovering yourself, discovering God and your passions, and how to make your life beautiful and so full that it overflows into the lives of others. And over here, we are not about compartmentalizing life. Oh no. Over here, we talk about holistically taking your life and presenting it as a place where others can be blessed just by knowing you. Are you excited? I am. So snag your favorite mug of tea or a pen and paper, and let's jump in. Because you're listening to Her Reading Life podcast.
Hello, friends, and welcome once again to Her Reading Life podcast. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Shira, and I'm the girl behind this podcast. If you love books and writing and faith, and the very mention of a library brings a gorgeous smile to your face, you've come to the right place. Wherever you are, I'm so delighted to have you here with me today, especially as I have a very exciting guest with me right now. She's known me for practically all my life. We grew up together, quite literally, and she is absolutely brilliant and incredible and one of my favorite people ever. My sister Nevi, who is joining us in the studio today. Hey, it's great to be here. So today we're going to shake things up a bit. Usually I have an inspiring chat with a fellow writing friend or artist, or a simple encouragement or tips to share with you all. But today we're actually going to be doing a book/writing challenge together. The idea is to really gauge how important first lines really are, and if we can tell bestsellers and award-winning books just by their first lines. Also, as a writer, it's so important to know how to pull your readers into not just your book, but even each of your individual chapters. So I thought this is going to be such a fun challenge to do. So this is how it's going to work. My sister Nevi, who is also an avid reader herself, is going to read the first lines of some books that she's selected from various different genres, and we're going to together rate these books by their first line.
I'm so excited for this little experiment we're going to do.
It's going to be so fun.
And I just wanted to add a quick disclaimer before we get into it that some of these books that I've selected I haven't read, so I am not recommending them because I'm not sure what the content is, of course, and some of them I just got from the most popular books currently, so that we can have different kinds of books to compare. Mm-hmm. But I hope you guys still learn a lot from the different first lines that we're going to read. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm so excited. The whole reason why we came up with this was because one time we share a bedroom, and we were talking about books, and my sister Nevi was telling me how there were a whole bunch of TBRs that she wanted to read, but she couldn't decide which one to read next. And so she read out the first lines of these books, and we kind of decided to read, we kind of judged the books by their first line and kind of rated each book. And so as I was talking with Nevi, I was like, Nevi, this is such a good idea for the podcast because as we went through these first lines, I didn't realize how important first lines were and what made some of the best ones work until I read some of these, and the ones that really worked had a lot of things in common, which was kind of crazy. And that's kind of where I started really noticing some patterns in engaging first lines and how to hook your audience in. So with that said, Nevi, we can jump into our first book if you want. So just letting you guys know, I am not going to know what the title is. Nevi knows what the title is because she looked these up. but I'm not going to know what the title is at all. So we're just going to rate these by the first line. And this is literally the first paragraph out of these books, but I don't know what these books are right now. So, yeah, if you want to start reading, what's the first one?
A Quest can't trust anyone in this world except for Quest. So when a Quest, particularly Mama Quest, tells me to curl up like a Twizzler twisted into a pretzel inside a cabinet so small it would be illegal to keep your dog in a cage the same size, I trust she has a good reason for it. Or at least, whatever I'm stealing is going to be worth it.
I don't know how to feel about this one.
I don't know how to feel about it. Actually, now that I was reading it, if I'm gonna be honest, I was a little disappointed with the sentence structure. I feel like was a little bulky to read, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first what the quest was like. If it was talking about like the quest as a concept, I thought it was a concept at first, or I thought a quest was like one word together. But
yeah, to be honest, I feel like it was pretty interesting. I just think that the sentence structure just made it a little bit difficult to understand what was going on. Because as I was reading it, I kept waiting for the period, and it just kept on going. And so it made for a little bit difficult, just the sentence was a little bit difficult to read, so the content of the subject, of the sentence, did it go?
Yeah. I like the Twizzler line. I like
when I was like,
so yeah, I mean, I like the part like where I really wasn't invested. I was more confused at the very beginning, like the first line, the first sentence or two, and then when they said, so when Mama Quest asked me to do something, and then something about being curled up with what is it that it says?
Something about hang on, curl up like a Twizzler twisted into a pretzel inside a cabinet so small it should be illegal to keep your dog in a cage the same size. I feel like that just was too much information. I mean, I feel like you get a little bit more connected to knowing that this is going to be a more, not goofy, but like, you know, more humorous, kind of sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek kind of book. But I feel like it also puts you off a little bit because it is a lot of information kind of all at once. Like, why are you telling me that you're a twisted pretzel inside a cabinet so small? Because that's not the point of the book. I want to know about the character. I want to know something that's going to grab me. And, you know, being twisted inside a cabinet that's too small to keep a dog in isn't exactly what's the most attention-grabbing.
Yeah. And again, disclaimer, guys, this is not like a professional opinion or whatever. This is just what we're thinking of. Like our first impressions of these lines. So, yeah, I thought it was, I would rate it like a 3, a 2.5, 3.
I totally forgot to mention at the beginning, how are we doing this rating system? What does a 3 mean? Is it 1 to 10, I assume?
No.
1 to 5. Okay.
Because we're doing it like a Goodreads.
Right.
Like if we're rating this like it's Goodreads.
Okay. So, yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. It was interesting, but it wasn't like I was invested and really wanted to know more.
Yeah,
this one is from Thieves' Gambit, which is actually a book that I'm currently reading. I'm not that far into it. It is a good book so far.
This is from Thieves' Gambit?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, actually. When I read it and, like, thought about the sentence structure, I was surprised.
So Thieves' Gambit is a thriller, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. This doesn't read like a thriller.
No, not at all. I feel like it's more of a YA thriller kind of thing.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's not really that dark, which I feel like does not put me off, but I am a little confused about it in the book currently as well, because it's got that, you know, expensive thriller dark thing, but then it's also got this kind of strange whimsical side, so I'm a little confused about where we're going currently, but yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was definitely surprising.
Wow, I did not see that. It sounded, you know what it sounded like? One of those, like, regional, like, books that are set in the South during the 1960s. that's what I expected.
Yeah.
Like, kind of To Kill a Mockingbird kind of feel thing. But, wow. Okay, I did not see that coming.
Okay, so the next one, the first line technically is just literally one line. So I'm going to skip to the second chapter
Okay.
because the first chapter is literally one line, then a bunch of letters.
Okay. If you want, you can read the first line, like the first line and from chapter 1.
The first line from chapter 1 is,
the only line.
it took 7 years to get the letter right.
I actually love that.
I do too.
That is so brilliant.
Because I feel like, yeah, letters should be a fast thing, and so you're confused by the thing of this letter taking 7 years, which seems like the opposite of the point of letters almost.
Exactly.
Which just intrigues you. You're like, why in the world did this letter take 7 years?
Yeah, totally. Oh my goodness, yeah.
So the second chapter from the same book is Scarlet's feelings came in colors even brighter than usual. The urgent red of burning coals, the eager green of new grass buds, the frenzied yellow of a flapping bird's feathers. He'd finally written back.
Okay, this is so good.
Right? I think
This is brilliant.
I was very surprised. No peeking.
I'm not peeking.
I was very surprised because this is a book that I've wanted to read for a long time, but I wasn't feeling quite motivated to read it yet. And now I really, really want to read it.
For sure.
So yeah, this one is from Caravel.
No way!
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, I need to read this now because it really has a lot of. I loved the way you can just feel each of the emotions, and it's really good.
It's brilliant. Oh my goodness. And I think the reason why it works, because I feel like the other one, you were confused. Like, I don't think a first line should ever have you confused in a bad way. A good first line should always have you asking questions, but not asking, like, what is going on, but instead asking, why is something happening? Like, it should always have a why, where you want to know more. You want to read because you want to know why. So, for example, what's the first line again of the first chapter?
It took 7 years to get the letter right.
Exactly. So, like, the immediate question that comes to your mind is, why did it take 7 years to write that letter? And that's what's so gripping, because you want to find out why. So, you turn the page and you read the next line. That's insane. I love it so much.
And I feel like that literally highlights the importance of first lines in books, because there are so many amazing books that don't have as good first lines, and because of that, not as many people keep on reading them and see what good books they actually are because of the first lines not being as gripping. And so some people leave the book at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is just so sad, because there's some, and that's exactly the reason why there's some books that have great first lines but are not even that good the rest of the book. But people keep reading them because of the first gripping first line. So I feel like the perfect book is when you have a great first line and a great story, and just the whole experience from beginning to end is just so good.
Yeah, totally. I can definitely see why people are absolutely in love with Caravel.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that you get the perspective in chapter 2 of the person getting the letter, he'd finally written back, you suddenly are wrapped up in this person's motivation. You want to know what's going to happen next, and you already see the character.
Yeah. I think I would give that one a 4.5 for me.
Yeah, same. I was debating whether 4.5 or 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now, it's going to be a 4.5 for me at least. Okay.
Next one we have is Welcome to the Beautiful Sinclair Family. No one is a criminal. No one is an addict. No one is a failure.
I think I know where this is from.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I do love the irony in this one. Can you read it just a little bit more?
The Sinclairs are athletic, tall, and handsome. We are old money Democrats. Our smiles are wide, our chins square, and our tennis serves aggressive. It doesn't matter if divorce shreds the muscles of our hearts so that they will hardly beat without a struggle. It doesn't matter if trust fund money is running out, if credit card bills go unpaid on the kitchen counter. It doesn't matter if there's a cluster of pill bottles on the bedside table.
That was really good. I love the irony. I know which book this one is, I think, because when we were doing this before, I think this was one of the books. But regardless, I think that's just such an engaging opening line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it really also sets the tone for the entire book.
Mm-hmm. Which is something super important, too, for first lines, to set the expectation. Because I feel like often, especially with first chapters, there are some expectations that readers have when they're coming in. And then sometimes we're disappointed as readers because we just had the wrong expectation coming in. It might be a wonderful book if only we were set up for that expectation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is from We Were Liars.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. That's so good.
I feel like I would give this one under Caravel.
Yeah. Because the other one just blew me away.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would give it, I think, 4 stars.
4 stars. Yeah, that's fair.
4 stars, I feel like, is a good rating.
Hey there, listeners. Before we dive back into today's episode, I want to take a quick moment to talk about something really important. Reviews are the lifeblood of any podcast. They not only let us know what you're loving about the show, but also help others discover the beauty of living, giving, and repeating. So if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, here's a small favor I'd love to ask. Could you take just a minute or two to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform? Whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform you listen on, your reviews make a world of difference. By leaving a review, you're not just sharing your thoughts with us, but you're also helping us climb the charts and reach more listeners who might benefit from our discussions. Plus, it's a wonderful way to show your support for the content you love. So friends, if you're finding value, inspiration, or even just a good laugh in any of these episodes, please consider dropping a review. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to us. And hey, if you want to go the extra mile, share the podcast with your friends, family, or anyone you think would benefit from these conversations. Together, we can create a community of listeners who are engaged, inspired, and ready to take on the world. All right, that's enough from me. Let's get back to the show. Thanks for being the wonderful, lovely, incredible listeners you are. And as always, enjoy the episode.
I like the simpleness of it.
Yeah, I love the irony in it. You're kind of like, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of like, I love also the personality of the narrator that just comes through. And I feel like that's such an underappreciated aspect of first lines when you can really feel the main character or the narrator's character, or even if you're writing in third person, the character's or the narrator's style and voice that just captivates you, and you want to learn more, and you're just drawn in by the story and by the personality of whoever's narrating. So yeah, definitely this was book 3, right?
Our next one is, this one had a prologue and a first chapter, and I really couldn't decide between them, so I want to see what you think of both. Okay, so the prologue first line is, my mother taught me the golden rule of dating before I even hit 2nd grade.
Yeah, that one's I like it. I wasn't impressed by it. This sounds like a romance kind of novel. I'm guessing it's romance because, you know, dating is kind of like what the romance novels are kind of all about, and it kind of seems to set up that expectation. So that's the first line of the prologue, right?
Yes. I'm going to start with the first chapter now. The day began like any typical day. Mr. Fitzpert left a hairball in my slipper. I burned my earlobe with a straightener, and when I opened the door to leave for school, I caught my next-door nemesis suspiciously sprawled across the hood of my car.
How is her nemesis sprawled on the car? That's weird. But anyway, I think it was okay. It wasn't incredible. I would say it's between book 1 and book 4, because the last book I felt more engaged in. This one I was kind of like, it's more engaging than the first one. I was not confused. I knew what was going on, which was great, but it felt like a complaint.
I don't know. I feel like To be honest, I have read this book, and the book is really good. But I do feel like the first line did have me a little confused, which I wish it didn't because I loved the book so much.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it at a 3.7.
We're doing 0.7?
Yes, because it's like in like 0.5.
Let's see, 3.7. I was actually thinking of turning this one into 3.5 and making book 1 maybe like a 3-star.
That's true. That's a good
Okay,
option
so
too.
let's do 3.5 and making this one just a 3. 3.5.
Let's pause the podcast. I feel so bad though because I feel like we're bashing people's books.
No?
Okay. Back to the podcast.
So, again, this has nothing to do against the author. We're just going over the first lines and seeing how we personally like them and kind of what works and what kind of, I guess, doesn't. Or what brings the most tension just on the basis of first lines. Okay, so I'm guessing this is romance, right?
Yes.
Because it definitely feels like a romantic comedy, which I love because it did set that expectation.
Mm-hmm. This one is from Better Than the Movies, which is such a good book.
No way!
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I will admit, when I started reading the book, I read it at a bookstore and I just read a little bit of it. I thought the book wasn't going to be that good, to be honest. But then, as I kept on reading it, it was such a good book. So I do feel like I wish that the first line was a little bit better because I think I would have been way more invested from the beginning.
Right. Yeah, I've heard you say the best things about Better Than the Movies, and I really want to read that one. Hey friend, I hope that you enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as Nevi and I enjoyed recording it. It was hilarious and fun, and yes, I did have to cut out some parts because we were off the rails at some points. So if you'd like to listen to the rest of our first lines, because we're not done, and listen to our final score to see which one ended up being our favorite, then listen to next week's episode, because I will be publishing the results that we came up with from this little experiment, this little game, and I hope that you enjoyed this. Until next time, friends, continue to live, give, and repeat, and I'll see you next week.
Yay! You did it! I'm giving you a lovely big virtual hug because you just finished another episode of Her Reading Life podcast. If you'd like to access all the wonderful links I mentioned in this episode, visit my website at bio.site/ShiraJRodriguez. That's bio.site/ShiraJRodriguez. There, you can access my blog posts, resources, and so much more. Also, check out my Instagram page for more inspirational content. And join my email list for insider secrets and exclusive updates on special events. The links are in the description box below. Also, if you could take a minute and leave a review for this podcast, that would be amazing. We're able to reach so many more people because of your reviews and ratings. I can't wait to chat with you next time, friends. Keep living, giving, and repeating.